All right, folks, welcome back to another episode of the Wealthy Delivery Podcast. Today, I gotta be honest, I've been looking forward to this interview since we scheduled it for a couple of reasons. But before I even get in what those reasons are, today I got my big cousin, Rudy Huxtable.
Oh, no, you didn't.
Nah, I got big cousin, Lachauna Edwards. Do you got the Lindsay in there still, or how you doing it now?
Edwards, I don't have a hyphen.
Okay, yeah, I know you full on wifey, so I kind of figured that. So, what's good? How you doing? You look good.
I'm good. Especially today, this historic day and a change of administration. Happy to just be alive today, right? I mean, we're happy.
Yeah.
Feeling real good today. Feeling inspired.
Cool, good. That's a good feeling because I think you're gonna be excited for today's conversation. So, this interview is kind of long. I don't even want to call it an interview. I want to call it a conversation because that's the kind of vibe I want to bring to my show. Because I'm not some dude that can just sit in front of a camera and just talk. Like, I'm a conversationalist. So, like, you know, I don't even realize the camera's here. So, I think this conversation is long overdue. One, because of the space that we're both kind of going into as far as the internet. You know, what you're doing with like your blog and, you know, just really tips on making a stronger, not just marriage, but even just a family together. So I think that's pretty dope. And I'm going more into like, you know, writing books and using books to kind of as a family asset. But it's all comes back to family and, you know, my newest book, Nepotism for Dinner, What You Grab. I appreciate that. Can't wait till you get that. This is, I'll spit some fire in here. But it's based around family. So it's really important that I get a lot of family members on this podcast too. And the second reason was just that, like us as family members, you know, you're always kind of big cousin, you know what I'm saying? But as we get older, you know, we got kids now, you're married. It's like, we never really get the chance to have that adult conversation, you know what I'm saying? Because we just don't see each other like we would. And then when we were kids, you know, we had great conversation, but it's not like what we can talk about today.
Right.
So,
not conversation.
Yeah, so I was really excited to get you on here for that too. So you and Greg, happily married. How long has it been? Is it 7 years?
Almost 8, be 8 in July.
Big shout out to Greg, man. I don't think I ever had to sit down. I think I met him like once. Didn't really get to sit and talk to him. I think when me and Chantel came out there, we went to like a cookout or something at your friend's house. That was like a few years ago now. But
yeah, I have a horrible memory.
Well, yeah, that was like last. I think he was there for that. He came a little later, but I think he was there for that. But I love that, like in all you guys' pictures, like his face is the same. Like, I love it. He has the same facial expression every time. He's like the Kawhi Leonard of just like taking pictures for your blog. And I love it. It's like a theme. But big shout out to him.
I actually am telling him to work on his facial expressions. It's like, you smile, please smile. He's just like,
I love it. No, don't change it. It's
a good time. You know, you don't look like him.
Deep down, you can still tell he's having a good time. Like, you can see it. It's just like his face just don't change. I just love it. I don't know. I think it's kind of cool. So I like to do my research before I do interviews, even if it's family members. So I checked out your blog. I love it. You know, I read up on some of the articles and also checked out some of your freebies you have. I like the one, was it 10 to 15 dating tips you can do at home?
15 date ideas
okay.
With no fire. So your at-home date, most of it was at-home date ideas.
So yeah, with no babysitter. I think that's big. You know, you got twins and a 6-year-old. I don't know how you doing that. I'm struggling with the one.
Man, it's a lot. But I will say my twins are not too hard. I have my days, but I think I'm managing well considering.
I know. I give you mom's credits. You know, just you guys got that thing that just, I'm like, man, you guys are dope. But I saw in one of theirs was like a date in a box. I think you guys just did that not too long ago, right? I saw it on your story. Tell me what that was. What was that about? How was that?
So it's like a little kind of subscription. It is a subscription box, but you can do it for however many months you want. So I think they have a 1 month and then on and on and on. But it comes in like the subscription kind of box where it's, you open the lid up and it's a different date each month. They send you a box to your door. You can get, it's kind of curated. You do like a little quiz to say the things that you like. For me and Greg, we like to do we're competitive. We like to eat. So we often get games and, like the last few times have been a recipe in them, and they're kind of conversation starters, team building kind of things. It comes with a playlist also, although I haven't used a playlist, but I partner with them, and so I'm an affiliate, I should say. So I get 50%. I mean, my anyone who signs up through my code gets 50% off their at least 1 month, which makes it like $20. So it's like it's a $20 date. It's like everything is done for you. And so for those who are just kind of looking for something new to do, something new to try, it's a very easy way to just make sure you have that quality date time with your significant other each month. And my code is Mrs. Mommy Esquire, MRS Mommy Esquire.
I'm going to leave a link to that in the description here on this in YouTube. But
cool.
How important, with that said, how important is it to continue to date, your spouse? Like how important do you feel that is? Because I know that can get lost, especially after having kids and just life, and even just this whole year that passed. It's been a crazy year for people,
right? Right.
So how important is it to kind of keep that thing going?
Dating has to be literally one of your top priorities in your life. When you're not just your marriage, your life, like that quality time with your spouse. I know that sounds like when you just say dating, like, oh, just going on a date. Yeah, boyfriend, girlfriend land. And when you're just dating around with somebody, it's lightweight. But when you're talking about trying to do life with somebody, you're trying to be with them forever, per se, right? Mm-hmm. You're not going to be, in my opinion, and what a lot of research has shown, truly happy, truly able to sustain that love, that enjoyment for each other without having that quality fun time. Learning new things together. It could be learning more about what your spouse likes that maybe you don't know much about. We all have our own little thing that we like. And so you get to learn more about your spouse, get to enjoy that time, because like you said, when the kids come, you start to kind of put your connection to the back burner because, oh, the kids need this, the kids need that. But that's the foundation of their life. They need you. Your kids need you to work on your marriage too. Right. You not working on your marriage harms them more than you only focusing on them. We feel like I'm going to be this best mother, but you can be a great mom, but you can also be a great spouse at the same time. And you put those two together, you are creating a real solid foundation for them. And so I don't look at it as just a date. I look at it as me investing into my relationship with my husband to make sure that we stay together for each other, for our family, for our lineage, for our legacy. And in my opinion, it goes so much further than just a date, just going to the movies or going, it's really enjoying the person who you're saying you want to do the rest of your life with.
You were spitting there. You were spitting hardcore. I wasn't even gonna stop you. You said a lot. You said a lot in that.
My passion.
Exactly, and exactly why I had you on this podcast, because that's the kind of answer I was looking for. Uh-huh. Because also when you're going into a space like we're going into, trying to really find our voice and speak on something that's passionate about us, you see it in the other person that's trying to do the same thing. No matter the niche, like you can see it, like, oh, she's pushing past. Like, I see that with you. I see that with Amanda. Like because I'm in it myself. Mm-hmm. So it's really easy to point that out. And the thing that comes with that is you guys do your research on said niche. I can tell you're somebody that studies successful marriages, success, being a successful wife, being a successful parent. Like you actually study that. And that's kind of how I felt when I went into entrepreneurship and just this whole realm. It's like I study it, and I think it was my boy Jim Rome, RIP. He said, if you want to study success, or if you want to be successful, study success. You want to be happy, study happiness. Like I can tell you like you want a happy marriage, a happy foundation. I can tell you study that just by that answer you just gave. So I'm really glad you gave that answer. That was a dope answer.
Thank you. I do a lot of studying, and I say that, but it doesn't even come off as studying. You know, like when you're passionate about something and you're just always wanting to learn more, wanting to dive deeper. It just, it just fuels you, right?
Right, exactly. And it's like I was telling my mom's dude, I was like, I don't even know if I even wanted to stop. Like I couldn't stop. Like I wouldn't even know how to stop no more. Like I'm a nerd for this stuff now. So,
exactly.
And once I found out that I was a writer too, I was like, oh, I can write. I'll be spitting some stuff in here. So like, and then once I did my first book, I was like, it kind of just clicked for me just this past year. Like I'm a conversationalist and I'm a writer. I'm gonna do that. And all the entrepreneurial stuff on the back end will take care of itself if you have the right system in play. But for the most part, it just comes down to writing books and helps in the podcast.
Yep. So,
yeah, man, I just really dig that. I really admire that about you guys, man, because I can see you guys pushing through. Even it's a comfort level that you have to get out of too. Like you're pushing past something you don't normally do, and it's a big push, and you can see that with every person that goes through. I'm like, ooh, they're doing it. So it excites me.
Yeah, I did my first video podcast ever a few months back with the guy Amanda works with. And when he asked me, I was like, I gotta go on video. And it really just was like, after that stuff just started just coming, it was like that breakthrough, right? Of feeling comfortable in sharing my knowledge, feeling comfortable in believing in myself and saying I can do this. And so it really, I continue to do stuff out of my comfort zone and realizing how much fruit there is when you move from that comfort space.
Yeah. And the thing is too, is like you study your stuff so well, you're like, yo, people need this information. And it's like, if I'm not going out there and putting out what the world needs, I'm really doing the world a disservice. No telling how many marriages you'll save, you know what I'm saying, with somebody come across your blog post. You know what I'm saying? So that's that. When I think about that, it's just like, man, let me go ahead and beast mode this real quick. So
okay, look, like it's so much bigger than me, right? It's so much bigger than me.
Right.
That's how you gotta look at it.
All facts. Another one of your league magnets was the tips for sex tips for tired moms. I thought that was
Go ahead. I'll let you share your thoughts first.
I thought that was huge. And like I said, I do my research. I know I'm not your audience per se, but hey, you know what I'm saying? I can learn too, you know what I'm saying? So I really thought you dropped some bars on that as well. Particularly my favorite. I'm gonna give you my favorite since I read it. I gotta, give you my favorite. The schedule initiation days, which I feel like would probably be every guy's favorite. But I thought that was huge. Like, because scheduling,
right.
Not even just for the sex part, but just like the discipline of scheduling something, like, and being consistent with it. And like, I transfer consistency to everything. Like, consistently writing, consistently reading, consistently doing it. And obviously, sex is a pretty consistent thing you probably want to do with your spouse. But I think like consistent initiation days was pretty dope, as I think it's a good tip for a lot of women or just men in general. Something they can do. I don't know, they can plan together, but yeah, you know how it goes.
Right. So like I actually learned that from a marriage therapist myself. A lot of the things that I shared was either things that I learned from other women, more seasoned women, or with doing my research and then just trying things for myself also. The reality is, like you said at the beginning, us mamas, like we do so much, right? And sex is like one of the first things that starts to drop off in marriages, because especially when people are like waiting till the night to have sex, because it's like you got to do all this stuff all the day, and then you expect it to still be at high energy at 9-10 o'clock after the kids go to bed. And so a lot of women, and due to hormones also too, with everything that we do, that is like one that quickly drops off for a lot of women. And so knowing how important sex is actually in marriage, we cannot let that happen, right? And it took me actually a while to realize some of the program. I had to do some reprogramming because I growing up in the church, and I'm still all about Jesus, still love my God, but there is kind of a toxic, what they call purity culture around sex with women, where we're kind of told for many years, you know, you should only bad girls do this, only, you know, don't do this, don't do that, da, 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 da. And then you get married and you're supposed to just be like, turn it on. And then everybody like, yeah, girl, that's your man. You're supposed to be doing X, Y, Z. And you have to literally reprogram yourself about all of the negative messaging that you have, because sex is not just for your husband, it's for you too. So I had to learn some ways to kind of recharge my mind in terms of thinking about sex with my husband and, you know, making this a long-term enjoyable experience. So the initiation days was one that a therapist had said that some of her other clients had tried, because for some couples, they like to schedule. They'll literally, both of them are saying, on Tuesday at 5 o'clock, you know, or maybe just Tuesday, we're going to have sex because we know we're busy. We know we have, and some that works very successful for some. And my husband was like, nah, that don't work for me. Like, that's whack. Nah, I ain't doing that. That's whack. But it can be very successful. It can still be spontaneous. It's just knowing that for sure we're carving out this time. But because of that, my therapist was like, schedule your own days where you are going to initiate. And it also then is knocking out two birds with one stone, because like you said, men wanted that. What I learned within my own marriage and relationship, men desire to be wanted sexually too. It's not just I'm coming at you. And a lot of men, and based on what I've studied, also feel like if you're not initiating sex, then do you like me? And do you know, am I attracted to you? Like, men have those thoughts too. And I think women a lot of times don't realize that, because we just used to men being told men just gonna jump on you, you know, they just gonna jump on you. And so initiating sex with your husband, and then also knocking out, not having to worry about neglecting that part of your union. So I thought that was brilliant. It's not something that she has to share with her husband if he's not interested in, or period. And so you're kind of knocking out two birds with one stone. And so, and it's not just initiation days, like you're just like, you know, Tuesday I'm gonna do blah, you know. He's like, no, you're gonna be playing your music, you're gonna get your R&B love on all day, you're gonna read whatever you need to read, you're gonna really be getting you ready, because women they need to be revved up, right? So especially if you're a mama and you working and you got all this stuff and you need to cook, you need to clean, let's start setting the tone for you mentally and getting you prepared to enjoy that time with your husband, and not just being like, oh, here he come again, you know. And that's how, unfortunately, a lot of women end up becoming in their marriage, which is why for some men, they be like, why am I gonna get married if we're gonna be celibate, you know? So, I mean, that's
all facts.
That's real. So my hope in having that, although yes, it is a lead magnet, is to really give some women some ideas to kind of reignite that spark in terms of your sexual attraction, sexual time with your husband, because it is so important, and it's not just sex.
Yeah. You had a lot of dope, I mean, like I said, I read the whole thing. You have a lot of dope tips on there. You know, so I only feel like it makes me more knowledgeable as a partner myself. So, you know, I'm going where the men won't go. I'm gonna go to mommyesquire.com and figure out what I need to know.
Yeah.
Hashtag pro tip.
I actually do get messages from men often that are like, this is dope, you know, keep sharing this. And one of Greg's friends, he's always like, can you be my marriage therapist? I was like, I ain't got nobody's marriage therapist credentials, but he like, you be spitting, people need to hear this. So there are men that are actually, you know, really enjoying my content also. Hey,
as far as I look at it, as long as you get somebody results, you a coach. That's how I look at it. That's all they coming for. They coming for results. If you get them results, boom, you got certified.
I feel it.
I take it you read a lot. Were you always a reader, or was there a point in time? Because for me, like after college and like high school, I'm really not just reading to read. And then like I think probably when I was like 26, maybe a little bit before I became a dad, I read I think I read Relentless by Tim Grover, and he was like Michael Jordan's trainer, and he was just talking about like Kobe, Mike, and D Wade, like their work ethic, and it gets really like, it got me into reading again. And then when I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, it was like, oh, I'm never putting the book down. So was there a time you stopped reading and then like kind of picked it up again, and it was a certain book that made you do that?
Yeah. So like after law school, because we read so freaking much in law school, I was like, I don't want to read nothing for a while. Like I don't want to even think about picking up a book. And I can't say what year it was, but earlier in our marriage, I had started reading, it was a book by Pastor Charles Stanley, and it was early in our marriage, and I was also trying to find my first legal job, and that was a lot all in one season. And my husband, he was trying to say, relax, I got you, but you going from having somebody with dreams, and that's when we first had our son too, so I couldn't just jump up and move like I wanted to. I was very defeated in that season. That was our first year of marriage. And so I was trying to encourage myself. I love self-help books. Learning more about, kind of building yourself up, learning more about why are you thinking and doing the things that you're doing. And so that was the first book, and I was just trying to build myself up again. And then I just kind of started, the more and more we got into marriage, started reading more books about like how to be a better wife, how to create a good marriage. And I feel like I really don't have many what's the fiction? I know I don't have any fictional books. It's all like self-help, how to build, how to become successful, it's all like self-help things and learning how to be a great person per se. That's pretty much all that I focus on now. And I still read for work because I got to, but like for pleasure, it's almost always like self-help. So I kind of shifted from that learning just about stuff to learning about, who I am, how do I, serve people, how do I serve my family, how do I do? So that's kind of what it shifted from.
And you see you spitting again, because that's the kind of stuff I read as well. So, and it's like, once I learned how to I learned I could study myself. And that was the biggest shift to me. Like, why am I studying all these other people, what they want me to do, how they want me to do it? Why not study what I like and my habits and what makes me feel this way when I do this and what makes me feel this way when I do that? Like, and learn, because there's a formula behind that. I recognize patterns. So I was like, if I can put this together, like, it's like I plan out the perfect day. When's the last time somebody really sat and was like, yo, this will be the best day ever? You know what I mean? Like, and at 30 years old, I'm 31 now, I'll be 32. Oh, I'll be 32 when your boy turns, we got the same birthday. Shout out Lil Greg. But when's the last time somebody really sat down and like thought about what they really wanted at this age? A lot of people can't say they did that. So they may not want the same things they wanted when they was 18, 19, 20, 16. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think as people, we just get so lost in our jobs and whatever, and just in life, we're just like, man, what do I really want? What would be the perfect day for me? And once I did that, I was like, all right, now my life's about molding it so I can fit this mold that I built, what I really want. You know what I mean? So I think you really said something. It's like, people, you get to study things you actually enjoy versus like just, hey, you got to read this so you can pass this and do this. And, you know what I'm saying? What intrigues that brain? So big facts.
I really like that question. What would be the perfect day? There's so much you can build from that, because essentially what you're going to be saying is, these are the things that bring me joy. So then you can paint up a blueprint. Okay, well, how do I make that happen? Right? That's good.
This is not a thirst trap, I promise. My sister called it a thirst trap, but this is just like my perfect weight at the body I like to be at. So pretty much, I have this prompt. It's like 24 questions. And I went through it, and I planned out like my perfect day, my perfect life. And I put it, like, I got my goal up here. This is my big goal. Picture me really thirst trapping. You know what I'm saying? I got my top 5 reasons why I want that. And then I have a little breakdown of those reasons, like 3 sentences each. I got the outcomes. And then I just got like the whole day planned out, like 4 a.m., 5 a.m., where I live, just the whole thing. I went all out. What is my perfect where I live? And like, I just put it's like a vision board almost. And like, some days I just get up and look at this, but it's like, yo, if somebody wants to know what I'm going for in life, I can just hand them this. Like, yo, what are you doing this for? So I can have whatever's in here.
That's good.
It's planning out the perfect day and really trying to. And you're not going to be able to get that perfect day in one day, but maybe one of those days, or maybe that first day, you can do one of those things from that perfect day at that time. So you can be like, all right, well, I got a little bit more time. I can throw that second thing on there. And it's just like building that habit of, kind of remodeling your life. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I think everybody should just plan out that perfect day.
That's good. That's good. I'm starting up. Well, in March, I'm taking a life coach intensive course, and I'm be doing some I don't want to call myself a life coach because I mean it's just so cliche. Actually, I call myself a marriage ally because I'm walking this thing with y'all. So I'm going to share with you things that I'm learning, and I'm gonna try to have your back and help you be your own marriage goals, and I'm gonna be my own marriage goals. But I like that question of planning the perfect day. That's a good question to get people to start.
Even in my first book, because I don't want to get too mathy, because I can get real down the I can get real down the dark hole with numbers. But for me, it was like planning out the perfect hour. Then how many if I do that an hour every day, boom, boom, boom. But with planning out the perfect day, I was like, the goal in life is pretty much to plan the perfect day and live that day every day, in a sense. Like if I could live that one, that's what made it even super easy for me. Like if I only had one day to live, or if I had to live life for one day and live that same day, repeat it over and over and over again, what would I do? What would it look like? That's like, and because that day's not going to happen every day, but if most of the things you already got planned to live you know what I'm saying? So, and in my first book, I said it was when I was a kid. It's pretty much I played basketball, played video games, watch movies. Like, and that was in the summertime. So like when school was out, play basketball, play video games, watch movies. That was my 3 important things I had to do every day. And if I did those 3 things, usually it was a pretty good day. So, and I was like, what is that as an adult? What are those 3 things that I like to do as an adult? And it still happens to be video games, movies, and basketball. Now I have a kid. Now I hang with Grayson. But like those are things I can do with him as he gets older. So like, how do I build a life around to like when that time comes where I can just be like, hey, I'm going to kick it with Grayson today, or we can go here, we can go there. You know what I mean? So, and I couldn't do it just staying at like a job or making that my end goal, being better at my job. It was like being better at what I really want to do. And I think with us, we get to take advantage of a time period or technology like our parents couldn't take advantage of. So there was since we were the ones that had to experience it and are experiencing it, like we're doing a lot of the learning as we go. With this whole social media thing, and like, so they're not teaching you, I mean, they probably are nowadays, but they're not teaching social media in college or like as a course to like, hey, you can create an income by having a podcast and writing a book. Like, now it's still like go to school, learn this, do that. But it's like we live in a different time period, so it looks very unnormal to the people that came before us. Right. So like I'm thinking about what it's going to look like when Grayson gets to 16, 17, 18. So. And I'm like, it's probably going. So I'm always putting like cameras and things. And like this other day, he's like, "Papa, I want to help you on the computer." Like, so I'm always trying to like teach him things. But I was like that as a kid myself. So I think I went way off topic a little bit, but
no, I agree. I think everything you're saying is true because I think that what I always say is I love about our generation, and I guess technically Generation Z also now. We are some bomb entrepreneurs, and there's so many avenues that we can go in now, and For Black people, I feel like that is amazing because we are now able to kind of have a little bit more control over our financial, the health of our family and our legacy, right? There's people creating things that, like you said, our elders could have never thought of. All they could do was go to a job, right? Now you can say, like for me, so my like blogging and like I'm about to do the coaching program, and I have a planner that I'm creating. I'm actually waiting to
peep that.
Those are streams of income for me. So I still love my day job. So now I'm going to be creating some other streams of income. And we know, and I know, you know, multiple streams of income is where it's at, right? So I think that this social media space has been an incredible blessing, especially for the Black family, because we have so many more entrepreneurs now in our life. And for a lot of us, it doesn't even require a lot on our end. Like you don't have to have a brick and mortar. You don't have to, for some of us, you don't even have to have an inventory if you're doing drop shipping, you know, or you got an ebook. So all they doing is download and you don't have to. So it's just so many cool avenues that I love that I really wasn't in tune in until, actually, I have been saying I wanted to blog and do like the whole social media thing for almost 3 years now. And had not been for COVID, I'm not sure. I think I would have just kept deferring and saying, I want to try. But last May, I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. And I started learning more. And I have a business coach now, but my eyes were just kind of like, there's a world out there in the social media space I've completely like missed out on and didn't realize how lucrative it can be.
Yeah, you saw something you couldn't unsee. You know what I'm saying? I'll tell you the thing that took me to even this space. I was always on the computer and I always order stuff online. Like I was shopping on eBay, but one day I was like, I want to really be like to sell something online, like because I'm always consuming. I want to be the seller. And then, but the biggest thing I learned that I didn't learn till like 27 was just paying yourself first. Like, and I was low key upset that I didn't hear that from, but I mean, I'm not mad at my parents or anybody became before me, or it's just like, but I was upset that like it wasn't just a common thing taught. Right. You know what I'm saying? It's such an easy thing. And but like I dig more into that in the book, so I don't want to talk too much on that. But like you said, multiple streams of income. Here's my strategy. I will give you this. Grayson, writing a book is an easy passive stream of income. Anybody can write a book, you sell it online, boom. You sell one book a day, just one book a day. I put the price at Grayson's birthday. He's born on the 29th, so I charge $29 for the book. Okay. But you do that, you write that first book, and then you just learn how to sell that one book a day. Just one. You only, every day I make one book sale. Now you can learn how to sell 5, or you can slowly, gradually up, or you can just write another book and sell it sell one book. You know how to sell one book a day is a skill now. So let me write another book. Now I'm really selling 2 books a day. At one, So my goal is to write a book every year, specifically for Grayson, and sell one of that book every day. I know I'll sell more, but I do sell more. But my goal is 1. And if I do this for 20 years and add up all the streams of income, all those, and just save it for him. Because I read that, and like it was like a study in 2016 that like the generational wealth gap between Black and white was ridiculous. Like I think the Black family was at like 17,000 at most. Like basically a part-time job. Like I'm passing out a part-time job, and like the average wealth or the average family for a white family was like 100. It was like 6 figures easily. But and then when you get into like the wealthy, the top 10%, I think the Black family was like 300,000 versus like the white family is like 1 million or something crazy. But if I sold one book a day and just stacked a book on top of it every year for 20 years, that's $1 million. So it's like, why not write a book it takes. And I'm not going to just write one book for him. I'm going to write one book for him specifically, but I am going to write other books like for just my business as well and things like that. But like, it's like, why go to school? I'm not even saying school is bad. I don't want to think people I'm knocking school, but like, why in school didn't they teach us to just write a book? I could have wrote a book when I was like 15. You know what I mean? But they want to take me, hey, all right, you wrote good. So go write this test. Now go take this test. Now go to college and write all these papers so you can be judged. And why didn't you just tell me to write a book? So I can make some money and pay for college. But that's just like my thinking now when I started like studying entrepreneurship, like how it's not taught. So instead of giving Grayson money when he gets older, I'm going to make him read my books. I'm going to make, all right, well, you asked for $20. All right, well, go read chapter 2 of Nepotism for Dinner. After he reads it, well, what do you think? How you feel about that? How you plan to implement that? And that's how I plan to give him, like, that would be his allowance. But that's also me being able to tell him what I think he need to know before the stuff I didn't need to, or didn't know. So that's kind of my strategy, even behind writing books, and just to make an income for him, so he doesn't have to like turn 18, be like, all right, well, what the hell do I do? Like, nah, bro, we gonna be good. We gonna get you. So, but yeah, like I think everybody should write a book. If not for yourself, at least for your kids, you know, because I think he loves books anyway. So it's like I'm going into his world versus just writing books for fun. So
kind of. I hate to say this phrase, piggybacking off of that. I learned that, I don't know if it was through my job or like research and stuff, but Black families, we're kind of at a disadvantage in terms of, I guess, kind of building that wealth for our children for a variety of reasons. But a lot of the things that I learned was that our kids are not given the same opportunities to kind of imagine and think and dream and be entrepreneurial or, creating something that you've never seen exist before, right? And I feel like our generation is kind of moving us more into that direction, but our kids are taught even in an environment in schools and things where it's kind of like, do what you're told. That's it, you know? And so we're kind of locked into those parameters to where, how can I even think, or even those, I mean, we have some that have broken out, and obviously we are way better than we were in many years, decades past, you know, our generations past. But, you know, how can I think about or doing something I've never seen, and then also nobody around me is even encouraging me to think beyond what I'm seeing, to create, or giving me the resources to do something with that idea. So I love that, and I love that you said that no, but you weren't taught that in school, because I think that was by design. You know, a lot of white families and children get the opportunity to imagine, to do things that they had never seen, and people are kind of like, oh, let's try it, you know, whereas our kids are kind of forced to compartmentalize.
I have a chapter in my book, in the one you just bought, it's called White Education versus Black Knowledge. So I think you'll enjoy that, because I dig deep into how like I saw that. But yeah, I agree full on. I think we're kind of put in the box, and it's like my goal as a dad is to keep his creativity alive, because I study him as much as I study myself. It's seriously like a science project. I'm like, man, I'll just watch him how he watches how he learns, see what he pays attention to, and like it just intrigues me because it teaches me about myself. Because honestly, naturally, I just think he's smarter than me, like naturally. You know, he's just not as experienced as I am, but like the way he puts stuff together. He's 3 years old, and I watched him have a conversation with an 8-year-old, and I'm like, this is a real conversation. Like, it blows. So I'm like, how can I keep giving him this knowledge? Because at some point he's going to stop asking me for money, not because he doesn't want to read the books anymore, but because he learned how to make money on his own reading these books.
Right.
So that's, my mad scientist plan.
He's going to say, Dad, I do this. How can we do this?
Yeah, and that's what big goal was, like having a way to generate ideas. That was another. I have 5 principles I talk about in the book, and one of them is having a way to generate ideas. So I feel like that's a principle every Black family member should have. Like, how can I generate a new idea? Because that's what you think of any innovator or any entrepreneur. That was they did. Like, they sat around and they had a way of coming up with ideas. And once you kind of figure that out, like, oh, I think this way. Actually, I call it a power hour, actually. It's pretty much, I take an hour, I watch an episode of Jeopardy, I read 10 pages of a book, I watch like an inspirational podcast or video, and then just some inspirational content. And usually from like, what do I hear? What do I think about? And like that, I'm able to write anything about that. Like it's that's how I generate ideas though. But it may, for somebody else, it may be different. So that's like how is Grayson going to generate ideas? Like that's kind of, I'm thinking long term in that way. And so even now I'm like, well, what do you think it is? I'm always asking like him why, like what does he think? And I think that's just to push that creativity, because he's going to teach me something someday that I want to learn. You know, I'm teaching my parents now. You know what I'm saying? Like, even though my mom was very technical, but I still have to show her some new stuff. Like, hey, check this out. And I know that's going to be me someday. So that's a little bit just on my fathering strategy. So
that's tough. I like it. Yeah, his investing in him.
That being said, what is your dream project? Like, you had all the resources, everything you needed, all the access to the people you needed access to. What would be the dream? There's like, yo, we're gonna build Lachauna Edwards statue and a foundation for this one right here. Like, this is it.
My dream organization is to pour into marriages, right? Within that organization, I would like a bomb planner, and by planner it doesn't have to just be like a physical planner, but some sort of like organization system that helps people with prioritizing their marriage, which is what my planner does now in the physical form. I know people use digital and other things, but giving people strategies to help them prioritize their marriage. I would love, and it's a dream of mine, to do marriage retreats, marriage like conferences, more so retreats, I think, because I love to travel. So I want to put that element of traveling together, and then providing coaching services to wives specifically, because that is well, you know what? I'm gonna say that. No, this is my dream. This is my dream, right? This is my dream organization.
No held back.
So I might have a husband squad too that's gonna coach some husbands, and we're gonna get these people together, because what I feel like I've learned and what I see is that millennials, we are, like you say, we are like, I'm gonna be the best parent ever, and I'm gonna undo all of the stuff that I went through, and I'm gonna teach them more than I teach them. And unfortunately, what I feel like I often see then is people feel like that marriage piece doesn't actually really matter, long as I'm this bomb dope parent. And again, like I said at the beginning of our discussion, that marriage piece is that foundation. And I'm sure you've probably even seen in your research that part of the breakdown between the Black family gap and the white family gap is two parent household building together is going to do so much more than a single parent. And I'm not knocking nobody. So, our mamas, my mama's a single mom. Like, I'm not knocking none of that. That's just fact. It's just fact. So what then can we do to strengthen that Black family, to try to bridge that gap, to create an environment where we are truly able to live in Black excellence, right? And the reality is that family piece is that foundation. You build from there. Everything builds from there. No matter how people try to spin it, try to say this don't matter, that's fact. The family you build from there, and you creating that legacy that just branches out, and we're able to do so much more when we're together than when we're not. And you can do amazing things as a single parent. You can do amazing things. You can always do so much more together, no matter how. There's this fact. You can have 100, I can have 100. We put together, we got 2, no matter how you say it,
That's spot on. I you know what? I think you should go for it, if I'm being truthful, because I think you can do that. Like, just where my brain went as you was telling me that, I was like, we gonna have to talk off camera, because we got to collab on some things. And especially like so for my dream project is, I've always wanted like a basketball center where like players can come work on a game, but they can also come like learn like entrepreneurship and like arts and craft, but like basketball, like arts and craft. So maybe they're not maybe they like to build basketball stadiums out of Legos, or maybe they like to build things like that, just to be creative. One, to drive that creativity. Then the entrepreneurship side to, they learn how to use this technology to make money and sell their art or something online. And now, so when they go play basketball, it's not for money. It's for like the love of it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm on money taken care of. I'm just out here to get better. Because like for us, like for me, I'm sure you can even ask Marcus, like our dream was to go to the NBA. You know what I mean? Like, but when I'm looking at me as an adult, it's like I only wanted to go to the NBA for me. Don't get me wrong, I love basketball. I don't like attention like that. I'm not a traveler like that. I would have been a homebody. You give me that much money, I'm chilling at the crib, my castle. But it's like I wouldn't have liked all the interviews. Like I'm not that kind of person. But I was like, I realized I love basketball on my own terms. And I loved it more as a spectator, as much as and as good as I was at it. It's like I still enjoyed it much more as a spectator. So, but there could have been other things I could have did, like coaching or like a workout coach, that just wasn't brought to me as a kid, because it's like it's so do or die. Like well, if you don't go play college basketball, like that's it. Like and I could have done so much more. So I think it'll be important for them to kind of see those avenues. So that's kind of like my dream project. And they have like a chef on deck. It'll be really fancy. Chef on deck, get some meal plans. I'm hooking these cats up. So
okay.
That's that. And I just like I picture Grayson like hanging out there and like, just that's just what it would be like if I grew up in that kind of environment.
I like that.
So dinner with any 4 people, dead or alive?
My grandma, both of my grandmas, most definitely. Now I feel bad that I don't say my grandpa. I think I would, since I'm limited to 4 people.
4. You can have multiple dinners, but this
well, my grandpa, it hasn't been a year since he's passed yet, but it's been much longer with my grandma. So I think I've had more experience of not of life without them. So I definitely would say them 2 first. Let's see, 2 other people, and it could be that I don't know, right?
Yeah, you don't have to know them.
Or people that I don't have to. I'm not really. I don't really idolize celebrities. So, like, let's see. I would probably sit down with. I could do dinner with the lady off Shark. What is the show? Shark, where they say it again?
Shark Tank?
Yeah, Shark Tank.
Shark Tank. Mark Cuban, I'm a Dallas Maverick fan, so Mark Cuban's my dude. Like, he can't do no wrong, so I know about Shark Tank.
That's his type of show. I learned stuff from him watching it. But the lady who did Spanx, I would say have a dinner with her because I want to see what she can do for me, right?
Yeah, see what she's talking.
My ideas off for you. Can we get something going?
Right.
And then honestly, I probably would say maybe my mom now, because since we live in different states, I don't get with her. That's my mom is like, I would say that's my best friend. That's my best friend. So yeah, that would be who I would go with.
I just found out last night that your mom was in the delivery room when I was born. So shout out, Liz.
I didn't know that. Wait, I made her. That's before. Who knows?
Yeah. So I think that's a good 4. My 4 has been solid for a while now. I don't think I'm a budge for a while, but it's Bruce Lee, Kobe, Nip, and Muhammad Ali. Those have been my 4 for consistent 4. Like that's. I study a lot of those people too. Like, cause I like to study success in like all different areas, because you can like see the similarities. So like I'm always, I think that's kind of like a superpower that I have, honestly. Like it's, I'm able to connect dots or see the similarities in people's like paths, and I don't know, that intrigues me. So speaking of superpowers, what do you feel your superpower is?
Ooh.
Sure, you're killing it. I'm sure you got something up your sleeve.
Like my real super, like I really like not. I think I have a good discernment about people. Like I can get, you know how you get like a vibe about people? Like I feel like my vibe has never been wrong. And so, and I'm not even saying just conversation. Like if somebody walks in the room, you can kind of just be like, I don't know about that person. Some right in that spirit over there. So I'm gonna keep my distance from that person.
I'll feel you. I think that's a good one. I feel like I got that a little bit too. But yeah, I definitely can see that for sure. Just from just thinking about you and just seeing you in situations, I'm like, yeah, I can see that. I can see her. Like, what's this person talking about?
I gotta scope it out first.
Yeah, so actually, that's probably even like because you're the oldest sibling, right?
Yep.
So that could be even that too. Like that's man, you hold it down for everybody, big dog.
Yeah.
What superpower do you wish you had, and how would you use it?
I wish I had the ability to see time. Like I don't necessarily want to travel, but to see the future. And that can be good or bad, right?
that made me a little nervous.
Not because when you're trying to be God, and you're like, oh, I see what's about to happen. I don't need to go that way.
That's right.
But I think that sometimes I get a little when I'm doing a lot of my decision making, I get caught up sometimes in, I guess it's technically fear. I thought that I was the type that was like, okay, I want to get from A to B, so this is what I need to do. And then I took a personality test, and it was like, no, I go A and then get to B. Like that's how I process. I'm thinking of all the things that could go wrong, and and so I get to B, but I've worked myself up to get there. And if I had the superpower to be like, it's gonna work out, then I'd be like, all right, that's cool, I'm gonna keep going, or just being able to say, don't go that way, don't work with that person, don't do this, don't do that. So that's how I would use it. And obviously not just for myself. If I say that I'm serving folks, don't drive that way, sir, you don't want to go. No, don't go that way, they shooting over there.
I know you ain't never listened to me before, but today listen. I'll feel that. Last question. What is the most important lesson you've learned in your life? What was it like before you learned that? And what's it like now?
I think the most important lesson that I've learned, and I think it really, really sparked like once I became a mom, of understanding that my gifts and the things that I do are so much bigger than me. And I don't just mean financially or things of material, but how I think, the things that I do, the choices I'm making are just all so much bigger than me and even beyond my children, right? I said before I had my children, I was kind of, I was very goal driven. I was, I'm gonna go to law school. And also it didn't help that kind of like my dreams that I had was like, they kind of panned out it was a lot of, trial and error, or trials within there, I should say, not errors, where I had to learn lessons and things. But like, I always said I wanted to be an attorney since I was a kid. So it's kind of just walking that thing out. And so I've always been very goal driven and narrow thinking wise, narrow minded, I would say, to a certain degree, about reaching a certain goal, but never really thinking about what that then impacts. And not in necessarily in a bad way, but just like, okay, when you get there, what's the ripple effect of that? What does that do for the people around you? What does that leave your children? What does that? And the funny thing is, I actually never dreamed about, like some women, they dream about getting married, they dream about being mothers. I always wanted to be married, I always wanted to be a mom, but I never fantasized about it. I was very goal driven. I was like, this is what I want to do for me. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And I'm just going to enjoy life while I go through it. And when I get there, so on and so on. But, after having my son, after, studying marriage and really thinking about the bigger picture in everything, in the decisions you make, where you choose to live, how you spend your money, the things you invest in, the things you invest in mentally, like with the stuff you're watching and seeing, and how that all impacts everything around you. I feel like I'm in a much better place now of truly understanding that what I do, how I think, and how I move is just so much bigger than me. And it's kind of gratifying, I would say, to see where I come from, coming from a family with single mom, single dad, technically, growing up with my siblings, we all had, technically have siblings with different moms. And I look back a lot of times at my upbringing, and I think, and I love my daddy, nothing against him, or my mama, technically, but there were some things that we dealt with that came from growing up in that environment that still impact me to this day, of kind of some level of dysfunction that just kind of comes with having multiple families in different areas, and then trying to bridge that all together to create one when we have all of these different homes trying to, that we're going back to. So I just think about that now, and I'm always just constantly working on being a better wife, being a better mother. How do I leave a bigger impact on this world? And I just feel like I'm in a much more mature space now than I was pre-marriage, pre-child. It's not just about money and all of that kind of stuff.
I think you're spot on. I think I said this to my brothers and my sisters. I think the way and I'm sure you can relate to this a lot too. I think the way we carry ourselves really dilutes like what we went through as children, like our upbringings. I think because we're pretty well-spoken, well-mature people for the most part, But I think you look back at some of our upbringing when we were kids, this is not really a functional situation. So I think
not at all.
Yeah. So I think when you meet somebody and they're probably man, if you only knew. But so yeah, I think I don't know. I've always admired you. You've grown. I don't know. You've always been the staple in a sense. Big cousin staple. It's so many people can be they'll post these pictures and these memes and be oh, this is goals. But you have taken it and was all right, well, if that's really the goal, how do I get there? And, you ain't just talk that talk, you walk that walk. So big shout out to you,
Well, thank you.
Well, Lachauna, listen, I appreciate you coming on here rocking with me. Anytime you want to come up here, come back on, just let me know. I would love to have you back on anytime, any place. Especially after you go through that coaching program, because I want to know what you learned, man. So come over here, spit that talk.
Yeah.
If you're spitting fire already without the coaching program, so I hate to see you after. You can be jeez.
So y'all gonna be able to tell me, see, this is why you need to do X, Y, Z.
Sign me up. But
I'm excited to learn because I know someone who has previously taken that course, and she's phenomenal. I admire her so much. Is the real, like you said, steps. I hate when people say, in terms of the marriage space, you need to communicate. Communication is so important. Well, what does that look like? Tell people, do this. And not that it's just going to be 3 steps, but let's just say we disagree on something, whatever, some big whatever. Okay, here's 3 steps you can do to try to have a conversation to even start to get, move. I like to be told, do X, Y, Z to start tangible to move steps. In the right. I hate fluff. Fluff. We all know we need to communicate. We all know you should trust. We all know you should do this stuff. Tell people how to do it. That's how you actually make change in people. So that's what I'm hoping to learn from my course. So I definitely look forward to coming back and chatting about it.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it too, because I'm ready to learn. I will have my notebook on deck because I will be taking notes. So, but no, I appreciate you. You can follow you on the gram. Mommy, is it Mommy Esquire? Is it
Mrs. Mommy
Oh,
Esquire.
okay. Mommy Esquire is the website. Mrs. Mommy Esquire.com and
Yep.
Mrs. Mommy Esquire on the gram.
Yep.
So I'll leave those links below. Check them out. They're dope. And we'll catch you on the next episode.
Thank you. I enjoy chatting with you.
For sure.